Las Vegas, the city of lights, a place where the night never truly ends and the promise of excitement pulses through every street and alleyway. Here the skyline glows with 1,000 colors, each one a beacon calling out to dreamers, risk-takers, and those searching for a new beginning. Sin City, a shimmering oasis in the Nevada desert promising fortune and freedom. For decades, Las Vegas has stood as a symbol of possibility, a place where anyone, no matter their past, can reinvent themselves overnight. The city rises from the arid landscape like a mirage, its towers and lights defying the emptiness that surrounds it. Millions flock to its dazzling casinos each year, lured by the clinking slots, the roulette wheels, the chance to win big. The air inside is thick with anticipation, every spin and every card dealt holding the potential to change a life forever. For some, it's a playground of endless opportunity. For others, it's a labyrinth with no escape. The city's heartbeat is the gamble, the thrill of risking it all for that one moment of glory. Every night, fortunes are made and lost in the blink of an eye, and the line between triumph and disaster is razor thin. But behind the neon glow and the clinking glasses, a darker reality lurks. The city's bright lights cast long shadows, and not every story here ends with a jackpot. For every winner, there are countless more who leave with nothing but regret. This is a city built on risk, where fortunes can vanish as quickly as they appear, and where desperation can drive people to extraordinary lengths. The house always has the edge, and the cost of chasing a dream can be devastating. Security is tight and the stakes are high. Every move is watched, every bet scrutinized. Yet for some, the temptation to beat the system is too great to resist. This is a story about one man who dared to challenge the house, to play a dangerous game where the stakes were higher than he could have ever imagined. He wasn't just another gambler hoping for a lucky break. He was about to take on the very system that made Las Vegas famous. This is the story of Eric Morikawa, the casino counterfeiter. A man whose journey would take him from the bright lights of the Strip to the darkest corners of the city's underbelly. Las Vegas wasn't built on winners. For every beaming face cashing in a winning hand, countless others walk away with empty pockets and shattered dreams. The city's foundation is laid with the hopes of those who dared to believe they could beat the odds. It's a city that thrives on hope, on the allure of easy money. But the reality is far more ruthless. The dream of instant wealth is intoxicating, but the price of chasing it can be steep. Sometimes it's everything you have. Behind the glamour and the glitz, there's a darker side to this city, a world of hustlers, high rollers, and those willing to break the law to chase their fortune. In the shadows, deals are made, rules are bent, and the line between right and wrong blurs. Over the years, Las Vegas has seen its share of legends and outlaws, people who tried to outsmart the system, sometimes succeeding, but more often paying a heavy price. And it was into this world that Eric Morikawa, once a respected businessman, would find himself drawn, his life about to take a dramatic and dangerous turn. In a city where dreams are made and broken every night, Eric was about to discover just how high the stakes could be. Eric Morikawa had always believed in hard work. From a young age, he was taught that nothing in life came easy, and that every success was earned, not given. He carried this lesson with him through every challenge, every setback, and every triumph. As a successful contractor, Eric rode the wave of Las Vegas's booming construction industry in the early 2000s. The city was a playground for dreamers and builders, and Eric was at the heart of it all, overseeing projects that seemed to rise from the desert overnight. Skyscrapers, luxury condos, and glittering hotels, his fingerprints were on them all. He built a good life for himself, a testament to his grit and determination. His days were filled with meetings and blueprints, his nights with family dinners in a beautiful home. Eric was respected in his field, admired by his peers, and loved by his family. He had achieved the American dream, or so it seemed. But the desert city, known for its fickle fortunes, was about to deal Eric a devastating blow. Las Vegas, with its shimmering lights and endless promise, could turn on anyone in an instant. Beneath the surface, trouble was brewing, trouble that would soon engulf the entire city. The 2004 housing market crash sent shockwaves across America, and Las Vegas, built on a foundation of real estate, crumbled. Projects were halted mid-construction, investments vanished overnight, and the city's once thriving neighborhoods became ghost towns. The very industry that had made Eric's fortune was now collapsing beneath his feet. Eric's construction business, once a source of pride, was swept away in the financial tsunami. He watched helplessly as contracts dried up, workers were laid off, and bills piled higher than ever before. The stress was relentless, and the future he had worked so hard to build began to unravel. He lost everything: his company, his savings, his house. The life he had painstakingly constructed was dismantled piece by piece, leaving him with nothing but memories and regrets. Friends drifted away, and even his family struggled to cope with the sudden change. The man who once built dreams was now drowning in debt, his own dreams reduced to rubble. Each day felt heavier than the last as he faced collection calls, mounting bills, and the haunting sense of failure. Eric was left alone with his thoughts, wondering if he would ever find a way out. Desperate for a way out, Eric found himself increasingly drawn to the casinos, seeking solace in a stroke of luck that could turn his life around. The bright lights and ringing slot machines offered a fleeting escape from his troubles. With every bet, he hoped for a miracle, a chance to rebuild, to reclaim what he had lost. But in the city of second chances, the odds were never in his favor. In the hazy, smoke-filled backrooms of a nondescript casino, fate brought together two unlikely allies. Eric, a man whose life had been a series of near misses and disappointments, found himself face to face with Jeremy Lewis, a smooth-talking ex-forger whose reputation for clever schemes was only matched by the glint of mischief in his eye. The air was thick with the scent of stale cigarettes and spilled whiskey, and the low hum of slot machines filtered in from the main floor, a constant reminder of fortunes won and lost. It was here, in this shadowy corner of the world, that their paths crossed, setting the stage for a partnership that would change both their lives forever. Jeremy, for all his bravado, was a man battered by circumstance. Once the proud owner of a bustling print shop, he had watched his business crumble under the weight of mounting debts and bad luck. His wife, unable to bear the strain, had walked out, leaving him alone with nothing but memories and regrets. Nights were spent nursing cheap drinks in lonely bars, haunted by the ghosts of what could have been. The world, it seemed, had turned its back on him, and Jeremy was left to pick up the pieces of a life that no longer felt like his own. Eric, too, carried his own burdens. He'd been chewed up and spit out by a system that promised opportunity but delivered only disappointment. The two men, united by their shared misfortune and a simmering resentment toward the world that had failed them, found an unexpected solace in each other's company. Over time, their conversations grew deeper, their laughter more genuine, and a sense of camaraderie began to blossom. In each other, they saw not just a reflection of their own pain, but also the possibility of redemption, or at least revenge. Night after night, over cheap beer and whiskey shots, Eric and Jeremy swapped stories of their losses. They spoke of broken dreams, of families fractured by hardship, and of the relentless grind that had left them both feeling invisible. Their anger simmered just beneath the surface, fueled by every clink of a glass and every memory dredged up from the past. Yet in these moments of vulnerability, a bond was forged, one built on mutual understanding and a shared desire to take back control of their destinies. The casinos, with their endless flow of money and their air of untouchable opulence, became the perfect symbol of everything that had gone wrong in their lives. To Eric and Jeremy, these glittering palaces weren't just places of chance. They were monuments to greed, excess, and the crushing inequality that had left them behind. Every flashing light and spinning roulette wheel was a reminder of the system that had chewed them up and spat them out. The idea of striking back, of turning the tables on the very institutions that had profited from their misery, began to take root. It was during one of these late-night, alcohol-fueled conversations as the world outside faded into darkness, that the seed of an audacious and dangerous plan was sown. The more they talked, the more the idea took shape. What if they could beat the casinos at their own game? What if instead of being victims, they became the architects of their own fate? The risk was enormous, but so was the allure of finally taking control, of rewriting the rules in their favor. And so, with a mix of desperation and determination, Eric and Jeremy made a pact. They would counterfeit casino chips, turning their skills, their pain, and their anger into a weapon against the very system that had left them with nothing to lose. At first, it was just a pipe dream, a way to vent their frustrations, but the more they talked, the more the idea took hold. They studied the chips, noting the intricate designs, the weight, the feel. They knew it wouldn't be easy, that security was tight, but the potential rewards were just too tempting to ignore. They started small, researching online, scouring forums for any scrap of information about chip manufacturing. They learned about different materials, about printing techniques, about the subtle security features that casinos use to identify genuine chips. They realized they couldn't just create crude imitations. Their chips had to be perfect, indistinguishable from the real thing. Their initial attempts were crude, almost comical in their imperfection. But Eric and Jeremy were nothing if not persistent. They spent hours, days, weeks, locked away in Jeremy's cramped apartment, transforming it into a makeshift counterfeiting workshop. They experimented with different types of plastic, meticulously trying to replicate the weight and feel of a real casino chip. Their breakthrough came when they stumbled upon a unique approach, using real $1 chips as their base. They carefully sanded down the denominations, removing the ink and leaving a blank slate. Then, using high-resolution scanners and professional-grade printers, they painstakingly recreated the intricate designs of $100 chips, applying layer upon layer of ink and protective coating. The result was astonishing, near-perfect replicas, even to the trained eye. The moment of truth arrived on a Friday night. The air crackled with nervous energy as Eric, armed with a stack of their meticulously crafted fake chips, walked into a bustling casino just off the strip. He chose a blackjack table away from the prying eyes of security cameras, his heart pounding in his chest. He started small, betting cautiously, testing the waters. The chips were accepted without a second glance. A wave of relief followed by a surge of exhilaration washed over him. He played for an hour, winning some, losing some, all the while exchanging their fake chips for real money. By the time he walked out, his pockets were bulging with cash, the thrill of success more intoxicating than any drug. Emboldened by their initial success, Eric and Jeremy expanded their operation. They recruited a small, trusted crew, each member assigned a specific role: the printer, the distributor, the player. They targeted different casinos, moving from one to another, always staying one step ahead. They lived large, indulging in expensive dinners, designer clothes, and high-stakes poker games. But the fear of getting caught was a constant shadow, a knot of anxiety that never fully unraveled. They knew they were playing a dangerous game, one with potentially devastating consequences. Yet, the allure of easy money, the thrill of outsmarting the system, proved too strong to resist.